Well, the thing about LT is that, I got to play with, to me, the greatest football player I've ever seen, but definitely the greatest player I've ever played with in Marshall Faulk. And what I admired so much about Marshall was he had no weakness in his game. Everything he did, he was really, really good at. And I just thought, okay, this guy's special, one of a kind, we'll never see another one like him. And then I watched LT play, and I go, that's Marshall Faulk in a different uniform.
31 touchdowns? 31 touchdowns in one season? It's a crazy number.
January 20th, 2008, AFC Championship game. LaDainian Tomlinson, the same running back who'd set NFL records for touchdowns and points just one season earlier.
Tomlinson, off the left side, Tomlinson sidesteps. Hello, history books!
Is sitting on the bench in a parka, visor down. Not hurt enough to leave the stadium, hurt enough that he can't play. Final stat line, 2 carries, 5 yards. 3 years later, different team, different jersey, same nightmare. 4th and 1, AFC Championship, Jets down and desperate. Everybody in the building knows exactly who's getting the ball. Tomlinson gets it and gets stopped a yard short. Twice, on the 2 biggest stages of his career, the story stopped being about what LaDainian Tomlinson could do and became about the one time he couldn't. Here's what's strange about that. The guy sitting on that bench, in that parka, is one of 2 running backs who ever got close to proving a single man could carry an entire offense by himself, year after year.
They give it to Tomlinson. He's inside the 10, inside the 5. Touchdown, San Diego.
And the NFL has spent every year since making sure nobody gets the chance to prove it a third time. Rewind. The average NFL running back's career lasts 2.5 years, shortest of any position in professional football. Keep that number in your head, because everything you're about to watch happened in defiance of it, twice. Forget the parka for a second. Rewind all the way back. The NFL tells you running backs are replaceable, that they get hurt, that they age fast, that you do not build an offense around one anymore. Fine. Then explain Marshall Faulk.
Turns the corner, stop and go, touchdown! Whoa!
Explain LaDainian Tomlinson.
3rd and 3, and that pass is caught by Tomlinson. And here goes touchdown number 101.
Explain how 2 running backs turned into one-man offenses, forced defensive coordinators into full-blown panic, won MVPs nobody else was getting that year, and somehow convinced the league to never trust another running back that much again. This is not just LaDainian Tomlinson versus Marshall Faulk. This is the case file on the 2 men who got too good at their job, and the league that buried the evidence. Maybe they were both perfect, and maybe that was exactly the problem. Here's the theory this video is about to prove. The NFL did not stop building around running backs because they stopped mattering. It stopped because Faulk and Tomlinson proved how terrifyingly useful one running back could be. Faulk made a great offense impossible to defend.
He was one of the greatest, arguably the greatest running back to ever play the game. I'm talking about in all phases. Blocking, running the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield, and a bona fide leader.
He's being chased by Darnell Walker. It's a foot race. Faulk is in for the touchdown.
Tomlinson made a flawed, star-crossed franchise function like a machine.
He really reminded me day one of Walter Payton.
And somewhere in watching both of those things happen, the league decided the smartest business move was to never let it happen again. That is not a coincidence. That is a cover-up. LaDainian Tomlinson versus Marshall Faulk. The NFL buried this on purpose. Let's open the file. The player who made greatness multiply. Part 1. The warning years. Start with the lazy version of the Marshall Faulk story. Great player, great machine. Can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Kurt Warner slinging it. Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt running wide open. Orlando Pace erasing edge rushers. Faulk, the argument goes, was just the best positioned man in the building. That version is comfortable. It is also backwards.
Marshall Faulk takes the pass and goes all the way for a touchdown.
Rewind to 1996 first, before any of this. A chronic toe injury turns a rising star into a question mark. His per-carry average collapses to barely 3 yards, and he limps through the lowest yardage season of his career, 587 yards. For a few months, the league quietly wonders if the explosion that made him a legend at 19 has already cost him everything by 23. He answers the only way he knows how. In 1997, still not fully right, he grinds out 1,054 yards on a team that wins just 3 games all season.
And there goes Marshall Faulk into the secondary. What a run by Faulk.
Respectable, not historic, just stubborn enough to survive. Then comes 1998, and this is the season that actually matters here, because it's the one that got buried. The Colts go 3-13 again, tied for the worst record in the sport. Their quarterback is a rookie named Peyton Manning, still getting hit for 28 interceptions while he learns the league in real time. Third-year receiver Marvin Harrison is on that roster. He'll go on to become one of the greatest to ever play the position, but not yet. 59 catches, 776 yards.
Steps up and goes long for Harrison. Harrison has it at the 12-yard line.
And a season-ending injury after 12 games. There is no proven number 1 threat pulling safeties out of the box. No Torrey Holt on the other side. Every defensive coordinator in the AFC has exactly one real job that season: stop Marshall Faulk, because nothing else on that offense is beating you. Faulk finishes with 2,227 yards from scrimmage anyway, most in the entire NFL.
Manning wide open in the end zone. Touchdown, Marshall Faulk.
More than reigning MVP Terrell Davis. Not his 1997 rebound number, his best season yet by a wide margin, on a 3-13 team with a rookie quarterback still finding his legs against defenses built specifically around erasing him. That is not a product of scheme. That is a man being the offense, by himself, on a losing team, in his prime, in the single best season of his career to that point. Remember that number from the top, 2.5 years average. Faulk was already 3 full seasons past it, and he was about to have the best year of his career.
To the inside, breaks a tackle, 5, touchdown Faulk!
And here's the part that turns this into more than a football story. It becomes an economics story. Indianapolis did not decide Faulk had declined. They decided he was a problem to be managed instead of a player to be paid. And running backs on rebuilding rosters get treated as furniture instead of foundations. Devalue the running back the moment he becomes costly, no matter what the tape says. Remember that instinct. It's going to show up again, 30 years later, wearing a different team's logo. They let him walk that offseason for a 2nd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. Role players, nothing more. That's what a league-leading season got him.
I felt like I had paid my dues there and I deserved a new contract, and they felt like I didn't. You never want to leave. I thought I'd finish my career in Indianapolis, but now I'm here and I hope to finish here.
Part 2. The multiplier. Indianapolis thought they were done with him. St. Louis was about to find out exactly what they'd just paid for. The Rams handed him the one job the greatest show on turf didn't already have covered, making every defensive answer wrong at once.
What do we want? Where are we going to put him, and how are you going to defend him in all those different spots? He knew how to get himself ready. He knew how to prepare. He was mentally going to be better than everybody he played against.
In 1999, his first year in St. Louis, Faulk put up 1,381 rushing yards and 1,048 receiving yards, 2,429 yards from scrimmage, an NFL record at the time.
Warner to Faulk, penalty marker, Faulk breaks free, touchdown! Oh, man!
He became just the 2nd player in league history, after Roger Craig, to clear 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving yards in the same season. A running back was not supposed to also have a wide receiver's season stapled onto it. Faulk had both. The convenient version says Warner, Bruce, and Holt made Faulk look unstoppable. Flip it. That offense became historic because Faulk was the one player who made every other piece connect, because stacking the box opened up the pass, and dropping into coverage opened up the run, and every single answer created a brand new problem.
Going into the 99 season, we were a very good football team. When he got there, the horsepower went from like a 300 horsepower to 500 horsepower.
In 2000, Faulk won NFL MVP, piling up 26 total touchdowns despite missing time.
Warner throws, and getting open was Faulk. Touchdown, his third of the night.
From 1998 through 2001, he strung together 4 straight seasons of 2,000-plus yards from scrimmage, a streak nobody in NFL history had ever produced before him, and nobody has matched since. By the time he retired, a Super Bowl ring, 3 straight Offensive Player of the Year trophies, 7 Pro Bowls, first ballot Hall of Fame. Here's the game that gets buried under the highlight reel. January 23, 2000, NFC Championship, Tampa Bay at St. Louis. The Buccaneers had Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, and John Lynch, 3 future Hall of Famers, the most physical defense in football, and they built their entire game plan around one target: hit Marshall Faulk on every single touch until he stopped getting up. They held him to 44 rushing yards on 17 carries. Every touch, they hit him full speed, whistle or no whistle, wearing him down possession by possession, like they were trying to end more than just the drive. And it still wasn't enough. St. Louis won 11-6 and went to the Super Bowl because Warner found Ricky Proehl wide open for the touchdown that decided the game.
Warner going deep. Touchdown, touchdown. Ricky Proehl in the corner.
Wide open because Tampa Bay had spent 60 minutes trying to physically dismantle one running back. You can hit a man on every play. You cannot hit the fact that he's already rearranged your entire defense before the snap even happens. Faulk was not the byproduct of a great offense. He was the multiplier that turned a great offense into an unsolvable one. Keep that number in your head: 2,227 yards from scrimmage on a 3-13 team. Because 30 years later, a running back named Saquon Barkley is going to put up a season almost nobody in the league has ever seen, and his own front office is going to answer it with a franchise tag instead of a check. Same math, different decade. We'll come back to that. That's one half of the case file. Here's where it stops being about production and starts being personal. The player who made greatness exhausting. If Faulk was the multiplier, LaDainian Tomlinson was the centerpiece, and the difference between those two words is where this whole debate actually lives. San Diego did not add Tomlinson to an already loaded machine. They built the entire machine around him, then kept adding more of the machine's workload onto his shoulders every single year, because he kept proving he could carry it.
He's top 2 or 3 running back of all time.
Oh, what a move by LaDainian Tomlinson! Oh, my!
Nobody was softening the defense for him ahead of time. No future Hall of Fame quarterbacks selling the play action. No Bruce or Holt pulling safeties out of the box before he ever touched the ball. For most of his prime, Tomlinson was the receiver corps' best friend and the offensive line's only insurance policy in the same body. By 2003, Feature Back stopped describing what Tomlinson was. That season, 1,645 rushing yards, 100 catches, 725 receiving yards, 2,370 yards from scrimmage.
First and goal from the 3. Tomlinson is in for the touchdown.
A true running back catching 100 passes in a season had almost no precedent. That's not a complimentary piece. That's a number that belongs to a slot receiver, stapled onto a workhorse rusher. 2 years later, on October 16, 2005, against the Oakland Raiders, Tomlinson scored a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and threw a touchdown pass, all in the same game, all in a 27-14 win. Rushing engine, passing game safety valve, trick play weapon. One player, 3 job descriptions, same afternoon.
Here's Tomlinson, throws a pass! Touchdown Peel!
Then came 2006. 1,815 rushing yards, 28 rushing touchdowns, 31 total touchdowns, 186 points. An NFL single-season record that still stands.
When you got the ball inside the 2-yard line, everybody in the stands knew what you were going to do with it.
You knew the LT chants were going to start, and he was going to get in there.
San Diego went 14-2, the best regular season in franchise history, and Tomlinson was named league MVP in a landslide, 44 of 50 votes. San Diego did not just have a great running back that year. San Diego's entire offensive identity, red zone plan, and championship hope all lived inside one 27-year-old body. That is the part that gets lost in the highlight reel. Complete running back sounds like a compliment right up until it becomes a job description no single human is built to carry forever. Tomlinson finished his career second all-time in rushing touchdowns and among the very best to ever do it by any measure.
Look at the pass. Loaded towards the end zone. Tomlinson, a juggler. He's got it. He's in the end zone again.
5 Pro Bowls, back-to-back rushing titles, first ballot Hall of Fame. And still, the one memory critics won't let go of is that parka on the bench. Rivers became a warrior story that night. Gates became a toughness story. Tomlinson became an image, a man frozen in a coat. And images are dangerous because they don't explain pain. They just freeze it. It's obvious that I couldn't play, Tomlinson said afterward, and critics spent years pretending they hadn't heard him. Faulk had Warner, Bruce, and Holt standing next to him on his hardest days. Tomlinson had spent 9 seasons being the entire supporting cast by himself, and the one afternoon his body finally said no, people used it as proof he was never as complete as the stat sheet said. A player only becomes that singular a point of failure after he has already been asked to be the single point of everything else. It happened to him again 3 years later with a different team. January 23, 2011, AFC Championship game. Pittsburgh, now wearing a New York Jets jersey at 31 years old, chasing the one thing his resume never had. 4th and 1, fourth quarter, the Jets down and desperate. Tomlinson gets the handoff, looks for the hole he'd found 1,000 times in his prime, and gets swallowed up a yard short. Jets lose. Career over 2 years later with no ring. One of the most productive running backs in NFL history, and, depending on who you ask, one of the best players never to win a championship. So here's the question this video actually comes down to. Faulk proved a running back could make a great offense unbeatable.
Here comes Tony Williams again. There's the catch. It's caught for a touchdown, and that is Marshall Faulk.
Tomlinson proved a running back could make an entire franchise depend on him completely.
3rd and goal. Tomlinson goes airborne for the touchdown.
So which one broke the league's trust first? The man who made greatness multiply, or the man who made greatness exhausting? Because whichever answer you land on, the NFL made its decision about both of them, and you're about to see exactly what that decision cost the position for the next 25 years. The perfect running back is a lie. Put the two of them side by side, and a sharper, less flattering pattern starts to show up. Faulk proved a running back could make a great offense unstoppable. Tomlinson proved a running back could make an entire franchise dependent on him. Both of those are enormous compliments. Both of those are also exactly the kind of thing that makes an NFL front office nervous, because compliments don't show up on a salary cap sheet. Risk does. Modern teams didn't stop trusting the job Faulk and Tomlinson used to do alone. They just refused to ever again hand that entire job to one player, one paycheck, one body that could break down on a single cut. The position didn't disappear. It fractured. Power backs, receiving backs, third down specialists, cheap rookie contract backs replaced before the second contract ever gets signed. Remember Saquon Barkley from a few minutes ago? Here's the part I promised we'd come back to. After a 2022 season that earned him a Pro Bowl nod and re-established him as one of the best backs in the league,
Give it. Barkley slams it in there for the touchdown.
the Giants don't offer a long-term deal. They hand him a one-year franchise tag instead, like he's a rental with a return date. Josh Jacobs leads the entire NFL in rushing yards that same season.
Jacobs breaking free, going to the end zone for the touchdown.
Wins the rushing title outright, and the Raiders answer with the exact same move. A tag, not a commitment. Christian McCaffrey, probably the single closest modern echo of either Faulk or Tomlinson, a true dual-threat centerpiece, can't go one full season without the conversation turning into load management and injury risk instead of football. Same math Indianapolis ran on Faulk in 1998. Different decade, different jerseys, identical instinct. The moment a running back proves he's the whole offense, the front office starts calculating what it costs to lose him, instead of what it's worth to keep him. Here's the part that turns this from a theory into a paper trail. In 2011, the NFL and its players' union signed a new collective bargaining agreement that installed a rookie wage scale. Every drafted player, running backs included, gets locked into a cost-controlled 4-year deal. 5 if a team wants a cheap option year on a first-round pick. That means a running back's second contract, the one that's supposed to actually pay him for being good, doesn't even become available until he's 25 or 26 years old, several hard seasons deep into exactly the kind of workload that ended Faulk's explosiveness and nearly ended Tomlinson's career on a bench in a parka. This is not speculation. This is the rule book. The NFL did not need a secret meeting to bury the running back position. It just needed a contract structure that made burying it profitable. Draft one cheap, run him into the ground for 4 years, and let someone else worry about what's left of him at 26. The NFL did not learn that running backs were disposable from Faulk and Tomlinson. It learned the opposite, and it got spooked by what it learned. A multiplier like Faulk makes your offense unguardable, but hand him the workload San Diego gave Tomlinson, and you've built your entire season around one joint, one tendon, one hit. A centerpiece can carry a franchise to 14 wins, but centerpieces are exactly the kind of asset that terrifies a front office once you calculate what happens the year his knee doesn't cooperate. If you grew up watching one running back take over a football game by himself, carry a franchise for 16 weeks a year, you were watching something the league has since made sure you'll never see again. Not because it stopped working, because it worked too well. Every time you watch a modern backfield split 3 ways between guys on rookie deals, that's not roster strategy. That's the aftermath of Marshall Faulk and LaDainian Tomlinson being too good at their jobs. LaDainian Tomlinson versus Marshall Faulk was supposed to settle the NFL's last perfect running back. Instead, it exposes something darker. Maybe the league did find perfection, and maybe finding it twice scared the NFL more than losing ever could. Go back to that image one more time. Tomlinson on the bench, parka zipped, visor down. That man wasn't watching his career end. He was watching the league make up its mind about players exactly like him. Players who did too much, carried too much, proved too much. Faulk in St. Louis, Tomlinson in San Diego. 2 different benches, 1 decision made twice. The average running back gets 2.5 years in this league. Tomlinson gave it 11. Faulk gave it 12. And their reward was a league that made sure nobody would ever be allowed to give that much again. If this changed how you see LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk, and the way the NFL treats running backs now, hit like, subscribe to End Zone Exposed, and settle it in the comments. Faulk or LT? Who gets robbed harder by history? Pick one. No fence-sitting. End Zone Exposed is where the truth always scores.